The Montreal Canadiens have found a hidden gem in the 2025 NHL draft. This right shot defenseman from the Medicine Hat Tigers, Bryce Pickford, has been on an absolute tear this year, seeing a huge jump in production, 20 goals, and a monstrous playoff run. Yet he was available to Montreal with a late pick. We have to dive into Pickford, what makes him such a sneaky good pick while being an overager, and the implications on the Habs long term and what their strategy is. But it's not just that. The Habs also went off the board to select a Belarusian goaltender, a big boy, 6'4", that sets a very interesting trend for Habs picks. We got a lot to break down on this episode of Habs Digest, and we'll start there with our new Belarusian boy, and that is Arseni Radkov. Very athletic goaltender per Stephen Ellis, great butterfly, feels like an off-the-board pick, but one European scout called him, quote, potentially the biggest steal of any goaltender in the class. Excited to see what he can do against tougher competition. I believe, Jesse, he was ranked in the top 10 of all EU goalies, so very interesting selection by Montreal. Seems to be probably not on a lot of people's draft boards. I mean, he only played 19 games in the MHL this year, but he had a .918 save percentage, 3.18 GAA. To me, this brings a lot of comparables to Yevgeny Volokhin, the Russian goaltender that we drafted just 2 years ago after also only playing like 30 games in the MHL. I really love this idea that Montreal's just going out getting big goalies with good upside. Super athletic big goalies is always a good thing, Jesse. I know we picked another one a bit later in the draft, a big guy, but to focus on Radkov, hey, going off the board, if you got your guy, you think he's going to be good, plus he's still only 17, I kind of like this pick.
I mean, Russia has been producing some amazing goaltenders lately. He was the 12th ranked European goalie here, going from this draft here. But it's like such a balanced approach by Kent Hughes, again, of kind of every single year of looking to kind of draft a goalie at least at one of the rounds there, because we know those hidden gems can be found just anywhere really in the draft when it comes to these goalies here. And he definitely could be. There's a couple of guys that maybe could fit that diamond in the rough, and Radkov is definitely part of that, because he's got some good size at 6'4", but he definitely uses it very, very well. That's the big thing. It's, for such a young goalie, for, again, the technique is showing at a very young age, showing a lot of poise, standing his ground, not quick to collapse in that net, and very much use his frame that he has. So this is definitely going to be another very solid pick. And again, with Kent Hughes, with like the amazing drafting we're doing, Josh, it's like, it just gives us that much more credence. Like, there's a reason we just get that much more excited every year with these picks, because like we're seeing what in previous years, what they've done, how they've contributed to this team, how they're used to help get us impact players for this team, like Heineman was recently. So just so amazing to see how we're able to really develop our prospects.
Yeah, 100%. And look, this guy just seems like, I don't know, one of those guys that could come out of nowhere. And there's also a little added benefit for him, because it's very interesting. He committed back in February to play at the University of Massachusetts starting in 2026-27. So he's going to stay in Russia for one more year, but he's going over to UMass. So we're coming over to North America very soon, again, to play college hockey. But this upcoming season for Radkov is really going to be telling. Look, again, one of these kind of boomer bust kind of picks. He's very young still. He doesn't even turn 18 till August. Of course, still draft eligible. Very young, promising numbers in the MHL. Like you said, Jesse, like we like to take these riskier picks, especially on Russian or Belarusian or kind of Eastern European guys, because we have, Nick Bobrov certainly seems to present an advantage, and we've done a very good job of scouting these types of players before, including Ivan Demidov, somehow getting him at 5, still insane. But leave your thoughts on Radkov down below. He could be interesting, but while he could be a hidden gem in and of itself, Jesse, I want to talk about Bryce Pickford. Now, this is from Canadiens Views on Twitter. Just very, very interesting. Look, picked him at number 81. He's 6 feet tall, 190 pounds, but he's got an insane goal scoring ability. He was a plus 23 in the playoffs alone, Jesse. 20 goals in 48 games this year. And I saw this one as well that I wanted to show from Link Zadnovitz, I believe. But still, Montreal adds an already solid draft, who I believe was the best coverage skater in Bryce Pickford. Solid two-way D for Medicine Hat, and exploded with a ton of goals in the postseason. What a draft after trading both of your firsts. And you can see Craig Button had him 68th. Peter Baracchini had him 66th, but some places had him really low. And he's very intriguing because he played a big role in the playoff run. But he's an overager, Jesse. He's 19, right? So his draft year was last year, but 20 goals in 48 games, 13 goals in 18 playoff games as a defenseman, and he had a stretch this year with 12 goals in 9 games. Bryce Pickford, to me, is one of those guys that teams are like maybe a little more scared to take a flyer on because he's an overager. Again, Medicine Hat had a certain player join them this year that made them a lot better, but when I watch him play, Jesse, I can't help but get excited. And as we know, right D is a very coveted position.
It is for sure. And again, like being above a point per game, still as a defenseman, though, 71 points in 66 games for him. Again, and really turning it on in the playoffs. Still, as overager, but as a defenseman in the WHL, still not very, still not too bad at all. No. For sure, you got to feel like Gavin McKenna is helping him out there, helping out with that plus 34 ranking plus minus. But again, as an offensive D-man, you have to say having a plus 34 ranking, that's still a very good look where you can really have your cake and eat it here too. But I think just kind of looking at his own merit, like this is somebody that can shoot the puck, and for his size, has a deceptively heavy shot for only 183 pounds, 6 foot. Again, he's going to grow into that frame. Still fairly young at 19 years old here as well. So I think a lot to like offensively from this guy's game as well. Like seems that the Habs, we're leaning towards it, but it's a trend in the NHL now where it's like we're not just relying on our forwards, where we're seeing like D-men need to be able to do it as well. They need to be able to join in the rush. And they need to be able to have a great shot once they get the puck there. So that puck really seems to be in line with that philosophy.
Yeah, absolutely. He again, like we talked about it in last video, like we talk about all the time, it's like we have clear goals here. A good offensive, good solid two-way right shot defenseman who, when especially is on a team who can go all the way and win a championship, Memorial Cup this year, like when you have good players around you and you can produce, that's very important. I mean, maybe Pickford's not the kind of guy that can drive, an offense from himself being on D all the time. But again, regardless, if you have good players around you, you make special things happen. And when we look at the future of the Montreal Canadiens, like these later round picks, Jesse, I know we talked a bit about it last year as well. Like Tyler Thorpe, a later round pick who's going to play for Laval next year. A guy like Owen Protz feels that need for physicality. A guy like, and even Volokin was a later round pick, right? These guys all matter. We're seeing AHL guys coming into Laval next year. We already have a bunch of guys like Logan Mailloux, like David Reinbacher, who are ready to make that jump. Having this constant flow of highly talented prospects with some really sneaky good upside is something that keeps teams successful for years and like 5, 10, 15 years into the future. And when you can make the most value of your picks, you have your set criteria and you go out, you don't care what anyone else says. Like that Radkov pick, we didn't care what anyone else said. Bit off the board, we're taking him, right? We had Jurovsky at 16 or 17. Hey, we traded our picks, we still got him when we wanted to get him. If Montreal scouting continues this way, Jesse, I have a hard time believing that we'll ever be short on prospects, whether for trades or for filling roster holes in the future when we need to maybe have cheaper rookie scale deals to go along with our big contracts.
And that's why our drafting is so good. The fact that we don't have a pick in the first round, but we feel like we could get a player like Zurovsky, like that could be in our top 6. Like that's the upside here. Like absolutely swing for the fences. Like, is there any other play that really makes sense? Like we love our Kaiden, we love our Becks, but we're looking for kind of some of those breakthrough players to really kind of have that balance again. And that's the big thing, as you mentioned, Josh, like the flow, being able to have players that have the chance to contribute year in, year out. That's what all the best teams do. They just find one way or another through their drafting, even if they don't have the best picks all the time, to still bring in a player. And teams are able to do that every single year. And you could kind of argue that this is the big difference of like being able to get the Zurovskys of the world if they pan out or make those type of picks in the later round. It's teams that we've seen with the Stars. And even like, the Leafs, like it's not my favorite team, but like, did they do a great job in like drafting a Nyes or something like that? They don't have like a bunch of first round picks all the time, but they've done a good job of when they had picks of getting some impact guys. It's really those certain differences that's really going to help, certain teams a lot going forward to really replenish that tank.
And I'm really excited to see what we do now, especially with our development program that we didn't have for so many years, paying dividends already. I'm so excited to see how all these guys pan out. Look, we get our guys, we trade up for them, we do whatever we need to, and I'm so excited. But leave your thoughts on Bryce Pickford and our boy Radkov down below. It's very, very interesting, the future of the Montreal Canadiens after this draft. But hey, if you want to stay up to date on all the other draft picks, we'll have more videos coming out in the next few days highlighting some really interesting guys. Keep an eye out for LJ Mooney, a player that I think will be very exciting to discuss. But hey, for now, that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in every single day. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.